$800 billion. That's the headline figure Europe just slapped on its rearmament plan. 800 billion. The biggest military buildup the continent has attempted since the Cold War ended. Politicians are celebrating. Headlines are calling it historic. Defense ministers are shaking hands on camera and telling the world, Europe is ready. But here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. It's not working. Behind the press conference and the billion-dollar budgets, Europe's rearmament is just running headfirst into a wall of broken promises, political cowardice, industrial dysfunction, and a fragmented defense market. In early 2024, intelligence reports estimated that Russia was on track to produce nearly 4.5 million artillery shells a year. They achieved this by running their factories in triple shifts, ignoring safety regulations, and focusing on mass quantity over perfection. Now, look at Europe. At the same time, the entire European Union, a bloc of 450 million people, was struggling to hit a target of 1 million shells per year. And they missed that target. The problem isn't money, it's peacetime efficiency. European defense contractors have spent the last 30 years optimizing for low-volume, high-tech orders. Take the case of the 155mm artillery shell, the currency of modern land warfare. In Europe, making these shells is a cross-border nightmare. You might get the steel casing from Germany, the explosives from a factory in Poland, the fuse from Italy, and the propellant from a supplier that relies on cotton imports from China. This supply chain is so fragile that a single hiccup causes months of delays. In 2025, we saw reports that a shortage of gunpowder cotton, nitrocellulose, threatened to halt production across the continent. Europe realized too late that it had outsourced the production of the most basic ingredients of warfare to the very rivals it was trying to deter. And while Europe debates environmental regulations for explosive factories, yes, that is a real debate happening in Brussels, Russia simply pours more concrete. The result? A firepower gap, where for every one shell a European army can fire, the adversary can fire 5. Nowhere is this failure more visible than in Germany. This was supposed to be the leader of the pack. Chancellor Olaf came with a massive 100 billion euro special fund to modernize the army. So, where did the money go? A huge chunk was earmarked for big-ticket American items, like F-35 fighter jets. These are excellent machines, but they don't solve the immediate problem. You can't hold a trench with an F-35. The reality on the ground for the average German soldier is embarrassing. We're talking about a lack of night vision goggles, encrypted radios that are decades old, and barracks that are falling apart. In late 2023, reports surfaced that German troops participating in NATO exercises had to use broomsticks painted black during training because they lacked heavy machine guns. That was before the 100 billion. By 2026, analysts began to realize that the 100 billion euro fund wasn't a rearmament. It was just a patch to fill the holes left by 30 years of neglect. If you think the national problems are bad, wait until you look at the European level. The United States operates roughly 30 major weapon systems. One main battle tank, the Abrams, a couple of fighting machines, and a standardized set of jets. Europe operates 178 different major weapon systems. Imagine the logistical nightmare. You are a commander on the eastern flank. Your battalion has a mix of French, German, and Italian equipment. The French tank breaks down. The German mechanic can't fix it because he doesn't have the right diagnostic software. The Italian ammunition doesn't fit the French gun barrel because of a 2mm difference in the casing tolerance. Take the British Ajax program. It was designed to be the future of armored reconnaissance. Instead, it became a disaster that dragged on for over a decade. It vibrated so badly during testing that soldiers suffered hearing loss and joint swelling. Every European nation wants to have its own domestic defense industry. France protects Dassault. Germany protects Rheinmetall. Italy protects Leonardo. No one wants to buy the other guy's gear because it means jobs leaving their country. The result? We have 3 different programs to build a future European fighter jet, all competing for the same limited pool of engineers and resources. Instead of one massive, efficient factory producing thousands of standardized drones, We have dozens of small workshops producing expensive, bespoke toys that cannot be replaced quickly if they are destroyed. But the failure of rearmament isn't just about factories and tanks. It's about the soul of the continent. Europe is deeply divided on how much threat it actually faces. In the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland, the threat is existential. These countries are spending 3%, 4%, or even 5% of their GDP on defense. They are building bunkers, expanding conscription, and preparing for total war. But move south and west, and the urgency evaporates. In Spain, Italy, and Belgium, defense spending has struggled to even reach the bare minimum of 2%. In 2025, we saw this tension boil over. When governments tried to cut social spending to finance defense, voters pushed back. The post-war European social contract is built on the idea that the state must provide comfort, not security. Breaking that contract is political suicide. There is one final silent killer of European rearmament: the people problem. Even if the money appeared tomorrow, who would build the weapons? For the last 30 years, the smartest engineering graduates in Europe didn't go to work for defense contractors. They went to tech startups, automotive companies, or finance. The defense sector was seen as unethical or a dead-end career. This brain drain has led to a loss of institutional knowledge. You can't just search how to mass-produce tank barrels. That represents deep, tacit knowledge, the kind that takes a decade to learn and a day to lose. So where does this leave us? Europe has built a potent military force on paper. We have the best prototypes. We have the most advanced individual systems. But war is not fought with prototypes. It is fought with mass. It is fought with redundancy. It is fought with the ability to take a punch and keep standing. Right now, Europe is a brittle glass cannon, capable of firing a few incredible shots, but liable to shatter the moment the logistic chain is stressed. The failure of European rearmament is not a mystery. It's a choice. A choice to prioritize national protectionism over collective security. A choice to prioritize fiscal comfort over strategic necessity. A choice to believe that the end of history is still here, even as the fire burns at the gates. History rarely gives second chances. Europe squandered the peace dividend. Now, it is squandering the warning time. The question isn't whether Europe can rearm. It's whether it will decide to do so before the decision is made for it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.